couch.
Yes, sitting on the
And
couch.
that's what you're doing. We are live. All right. Black Box Radio. Listen, I am so excited. This is my first time on the box in October. This is my first interview this month. The month is new. We're going into fall. It's getting cool. It's getting dark early. So, it's the weather's changing slowly but surely. So it feels good. It's a beautiful day in Baltimore today. And I'm Queen. I am a host at Black Box Radio. We are a multimedia platform illustrating Black excellence. So we expose Black genius, we talk about Black issues and Black triumphs, and we definitely disseminate information to our community and other communities. That's our goal. We're Black centered, we're African centered. We are the diaspora. We are in love with our African self. So that's what this platform actually illustrates is the genius of African people wherever they are. So I want to take a minute. I have a beautiful lady with me here tonight. Beautiful Mama KiKi. So I'm going to talk to her. We're going to introduce you, Mama KiKi, but I'm going to take 1 second to talk about my school, Morgan State University. And I thought it's so poignant that I'm on tonight and what happened last evening at Morgan. And it's actually national news.
Mm-hmm.
I've been getting hits from other places, people asking what's going on. And I just want to say, I'm a grad, of course, of Morgan State. I love Morgan State University. It uniquely changed my life. Morgan State changed the trajectory of my life. I came there at 17 years old and I became a young adult at Morgan State University. It was one of the greatest things I've ever done. I have relationships for the rest of my life from Morgan State University. And so I'm saddened of the violence that I heard of last night and even in society. I read something today that we're in the inner city, y'all. This B city, this Baltimore City. So that's a little outside noise. And so I read something today and it said Morgan is not an island. And that's so true. As we see, we think college campuses, and no, think college campuses should be a safe place. But as we've seen from elementary school in this country to middle school in this country to high school to college, there has been violence at schools. I don't know what it is. What I do know is we're not telling the truth about behavior. We're not telling the truth about society. When our children are violent, it's on the adults. We can point our fingers at them all, but they're only emulating behaviors that they're actually digesting from us. So when 18 and 22-year-olds have to run for their life at school, we need to look at ourselves. And we want to make it black and a white issue. It's a American issue. This is a problem. This violence that we see in community is scary. And I cannot imagine being a parent. You send your child to a school to learn, to when they're not children, they're like young adults. We send when they first come, they're actually children. I was a child. So you come to school and you send your child and you feel that it's safe. You come check it out, and then someone calls you and tell your child shot at school. I just want to say to the community, we got to do better. And I don't know who did it. I don't know why they did it. But this love affair that we have with guns is traumatic. It's traumatic to communities. It's traumatic to our children. It's traumatic to everyone. And we continue to live in it. We have to find love in our society. We have to find an even space so we cannot talk about violence in schools. If you have 3 or more shot, that's considered a mass shooting, Mama KiKi. So
Mm-hmm.
last night, 5 shot is considered, it's
Yes.
already documented as a mass shooting. That's a problem. And so I just wanted to say, I'm praying for the Morgan State community. I'm a part of it, but the young people who are actually in school, I'm praying for them. I went up there today. The school is actually locked down, but the kids are moving around. I went to Northwood, and young people are everywhere. They were out of school today. A lot of activities were definitely canceled today. But this is homecoming week. Saturday is big at Morgan. This is the week that Morgan makes a lot of money because this is how they bring everybody back and we celebrate.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to say, I'm praying for Morgan. I'm praying for the students. I'm praying for the community. And I just had to say that because I love that school. We got to do better. We got to love each other more.
Do.
You know what I'm saying, Mama KiKi? We got to love each other more.
Do. It is all very, very sad.
It's very sad.
And as you say, parents have paid good money, put
Yes.
their children on a bus or a plane, or driven them to school,
Yes, ma'am.
and to get an education.
Yes, ma'am.
Nobody
Hmm.
expects something like this to happen.
No, that call is so traumatizing. First of all, I mean, the call, when you don't, someone calls you about your child that's at school, that's traumatizing for the family. That poor child that has to be transported alone to be
Yes.
taken care of. I mean, it's a lot. And then the young people in school, how scared are they? Just imagine being a part of that. And so I just want to say that I have a lot of condolences. I feel really, if it feels bad, it really feels bad. But I know Morgan will be better. I know the school is growing immensely, and we want to continue that growth. We need brilliant Black minds out here. We need educated Black minds, African American minds, African minds. There's a whole plethora of different people on that campus. And so it's not just Black, it's an international campus, all people there. So, and long as there are people, we don't want to see people hurt. We don't want to see people shot, especially at school.
Children.
Children, when are we going to stop this? When a nation's children are being affected this way, the nation has to look at itself. And we tend to keep looking at, and I heard them talking about the people, all these idiots and everything, but these are products of us. They're not aliens.
It begins at home.
It begins at home. So we got to change. We have to find a way to love each other and put down this violence and these guns. They have to stop. They do not belong on the campus. They do not belong in society. That's just that. So I want to end that segment. I just want to say, praying for Morgan, and we're moving on. Okay?
Amen.
Amen. Mama KiKi.
Yes, dear. Yes, Queen.
We have the children, the Sankofa Children's Museum of African Cultures in the house. This is the BLaKBiZ segment, our bbR BLaKBiZ segment. And we have Mama KiKi. Say hi to the people.
Well, hello, everyone. Sorry I can't see anybody, but I know you're out there. Greetings.
Greetings.
Yes. From Sankofa Children's Museum of African Cultures.
And tell them your address and where you are.
Well, we are in the Park Heights community, and the address is 4330 Pimlico Road. And this is at the intersection of Pimlico and West Cold Spring Lane.
Exactly, the 15. That's the 15 section over there.
Yes.
21215.
21215.
Exactly. So, Mama KiKi, tell us a little bit about you, because I hear the accent. I know your background, but I want you to tell the people about you and where you're from and all of that good stuff. Let's talk about you for a minute.
Well, if I tell you where I'm from, then everybody wants to go back with me. I hear that every day. When are you going back? Can I come with you? And yes, you can come with me.
Oh,
you
man.
You can come with me. You can come stay in my house.
Ooh.
And I'll show you what I know.
I love it. And where is that?
I am originally from Ghana.
Ghana.
Love
it.
And Ghana is kind of has gotten very popular these days.
Yeah.
Many people have found their way over there.
Yeah. Ghana has the largest expatriate population in Africa.
Yes.
Yeah. Americans.
Yes. Oh, I didn't know that. Know that. But do you know why?
Why?
From what I gather, it's the people.
Mm.
Yes. The people love people.
The people love people. Love it.
Yes. We of course, things are changing these days with the internet and all the bad things that people glean from the internet.
Yeah.
But when I was growing up in Ghana, and I came here when I was 28, when I
Okay.
was growing up in Ghana, it was a very community oriented
Mm.
society. Talk about it takes a village. The villages love all the children in the village. They
Mm.
also love strangers. So that if you get lost and you show up in a village,
Yeah.
the first thing they do is give you a seat.
Beautiful.
Give you a seat, give you water,
Mm-hmm.
and depending on what your the reason is for you showing up, you might even stay for dinner. And these might be people who don't have enough for themselves,
Wow.
but they give and then give some more. So it was a beautiful thing. Like I said, unfortunately, things are changing.
Mm-hmm.
Money has become very important to some people, but
Yes.
I think all in all, the majority of the people, especially people who are older, they 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 still adhere to these norms. You love your neighbor as
Mm.
yourself, even if you don't know how to read um, the Bible. You adhere to the tenets of the Bible. You
It's
love
almost inherent. It's
yourself.
something that's inherent. Everyone, it's
Yes,
something that's born in that
yes,
you take care of each other's community.
yes.
And my mom said, like in her time, that's where
Mm-hmm.
Black people function here
Mm-hmm.
in a way that the community was almost like a village.
Yes.
And I remember growing up, if you did something wrong, everybody got you. Everybody knew.
Everybody knew.
Yeah, the mom of the neighborhood told your mother, and she might have tapped your butt too. Everybody got it.
Yes, your mother would
Everybody's
know
count.
it before
Yep.
she got home
Before she got
what
home,
you did.
exactly. And I've already been reprimanded about 15 times before she got home.
Uh-huh.
But that's what made us a better people. We need
Yes.
that. And I want
Yes.
folks to hear that. Like these are things that even though you're not sure where you're from,
Mhm.
genetically who you are is inside of you.
It is.
And so these like movements is because we're African.
Yes. Yes.
Wherever we are, we're African.
Wherever we are, and we love everybody.
Absolutely.
We love
Sometimes too much.
everybody.
Shoot.
And I would say that we love everybody so much that we allow them, like the Europeans, to take advantage of our kindness.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yes.
That is the
Um,
truth.
our own people take advantage of us anyway.
Absolutely.
Yes, it's unfortunate
It's
that
unfortunate.
some people are not used to being shown kindness and they take it for weakness or
Mm-hmm.
softness or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, and
Yep.
they abuse it
Yep.
and they take advantage of other people.
That's true. That
So
yeah, that is true. How could kindness be a weakness? That should be something that we treasure, but
yes,
it's considered a weakness, and that's unfortunate. And
yes,
capitalism too, Mama Kiki, is
yes, the love of money.
it's such a corrupter. So it corrupts integrity. It corrupts people.
Yes.
I see Black people more worried about bags than they worry about anything. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
their own family. It's
Mm-hmm.
about money. And
Mm-hmm.
this is what capitalism does. It makes you become a freaking monkey for it. You
Mm-hmm.
would do anything for it.
You'll
And
do
so
anything.
it's such a corrupter, and it's gotten inside of everyone. We're so acculturated to these capitalistic societies that really don't have a lot of morals and values. It's all about the dollar.
It is sad.
It's sad.
It is sad. And any society that responds to money and the love of it, it goes down. It goes down.
Rome fell, and tell me why.
Yes. Yes.
And I'm telling you, the blueprint. We're watching the blueprint, and but sometimes things need to fall so it can be rebuilt. So I'm not mad at nothing
I
falling.
hope you're right, and I hope it happens in my lifetime, because
Absolutely,
we got a lot of rebuilding to do.
yes, yes we do, yes we do. So you came here at 28,
Yes.
and did you open your store or your museum? What did you do? Did you work? What did you do when you first came to the States?
Well, when I first came,
Mm-hmm.
my very first job. Now, mind you, I was a college graduate.
Okay.
I attended the University of Ghana
Okay.
in Legon. At that time, there were three universities: the University of Ghana, the University of Cape Coast, which is a teachers' college, and then we have the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology in Kumasi.
What a great man.
Yes, indeed.
Woo! But go ahead. Go
Yes,
ahead. My
indeed.
man Kura.
Um, Again, there are a lot of unfortunate things, and that is one of them. He
That is
was
one.
way ahead of us,
And they
and
executed
we
him.
did not appreciate him
That's right. They
and his
executed
mind.
greatness.
Hmm.
That's why I want folks to understand that all over the world, greatness is being executed and removed,
Yes.
especially if it shakes up the power structure. Brother Kwame was one of the execution. He was executed,
Yes.
unfortunately.
Yes.
And if you don't know who he is, I advise you to please look him up
Yes.
and get a book. Sometimes the Googles and the Wikipedia, someone's fed that. Get a book.
Get a
Get,
book. Get a
get
real
a
book that
book.
has real history in it.
Thank
Do
you.
you
Can
do
we?
you know that he attended Lincoln University?
I did not know that.
Well, there you go. You learned something today.
One of the oldest HBCUs in the country,
Yes.
Lincoln.
Yes.
Either Lincoln or Cheney. Wow.
Yes. And I think that when he returned to Ghana, he started to agitate, because at that time, this was in the 50s. At
Yes.
that time, um, he realized, well, at that time, all of Africa, basically all of Africa, was being ruled by Europeans.
It was colonized in some way.
They,
French,
they,
British,
we had
Portuguese.
been colonized from the 1800s.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Borders had been created, artificial borders had been created,
At the
names had been
Berlin
given.
Conference.
Yes,
Exactly.
at the
Yes.
Berlin Conference,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. So I think when he was here schooling, I really don't know that I ever knew how he started to agitate for independence for Ghana. He actually
Mm.
was talking about independence for the whole of Africa.
The leaders
So,
who were executed, that was what their spiel was when it comes
yes,
to, all of them wanted to do a united, the ones that they got rid of, they wanted to unite
oh,
Africans. That because if
yes.
Africa united, it's
Organization
over
of
for the world.
African Unity, OAU. Yes,
Absolutely.
yes.
Absolutely.
So when I was growing up, I remember that we had a government of Europeans.
What?
The Ghana had fallen to the British, as had Nigeria and Sierra Leone
Mm-hmm.
and the Gambia. A lot of the countries, newly formed countries, fell to the French, but the British had Ghana, and they gave us their culture. They imposed their culture on us. So
Absolutely.
when you hear the name Esther, for instance, which is my baptismal name or my Christian name, one of the reasons that they came originally was to bring Christianity, because African people were savages, and they didn't know anything about God. Um, if you read, you'll find out that
You
that
will
was
find out that Christianity started in West Africa. Let's be clear. How do you give people something that
already
they
happened.
started?
Mhm.
But this is the boldness of our European folks.
Yes,
They take it to Europe and make it
bring it
racist,
back
and they bring it back racist
and
and
sell
tell
it to
you who
you,
Jesus is.
and sell it to you.
And sell it to you. Not even sell it to you, push it down your throat
Yes, a
and tell
lot
you,
of it was being pushed down the throats.
yep.
So Kwame Nkrumah came back and he says this should not stand. We are going to fight for independence. So Ghana became the first country in Africa that got independence from the British. Unfortunately, like I said, he did not live long,
He didn't.
um, because you know who was also agitating to make sure that Africa did not become one. So we are going to do whatever we can to destroy this dream
Yep,
of a united Africa. So
absolutely. Yep.
anyway,
Gaddafi executed.
yes, all of them.
Another leader who was trying to unite and make them, and he had a country that had no debt. Since if you left the country, they would pay for your education.
And
I
they
mean,
helped a lot of
and
African
they helped a
countries.
lot of other African countries, and
Yes,
they painted him as a martyr when he was
yes.
actually a amazing man.
Mm-hmm.
We can tell story after story how this has happened over and over in
Mm-hmm.
Africa.
Mm-hmm.
And we what I want folks to realize is, who does it serve? So that's all we got to talk about. So if someone's being executed or removed, or they calling another leader bad and now pressed, who
Mm-hmm.
does it serve?
Mm-hmm. Well, consider the source.
Consider the source. That's what I
Mm-hmm.
want you to know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's so amazing. Now we're talking about African history, and I'm happy right now. But it's it's important that us Yankees, which are African Americans,
Mm-hmm.
that we hear this type of history, because we've been pounded with European history. When we go to school, it's European history. When we hear about Africa, it's famine, hunger, flies, always something that is degrading.
Mm-hmm.
The most beautiful nation in the world,
Mm-hmm.
we never hear about it. They talk about beaches all over the world. The beaches in Africa will blow your mind,
Mm-hmm.
will literally blow your mind open. So I just want us to fall in love with the place that we're not familiar with. I want us to visit. I want us to reclaim. I want us to reconnect. You know what I mean, Mama KiKi?
Yes, yes. I do not want you to create an utopia in the minds of our audience
Well,
members
that's true, because there's some issues.
because yes, there are a lot of challenges.
Yes, there are.
There are a lot of challenges. Now,
Absolutely.
when we have tours in the museum, and I don't sugarcoat anything.
Okay.
I like people to understand that when I was in school, I was a history major in
Mm.
college, but through my secondary, which is what is called here high school
Mm-hmm.
education,
Yes, ma'am.
well, one of the cultural things that the British brought to Ghana was boarding schools.
Hmm.
So there were, I don't know about today, but there were more boarding schools in Ghana than day schools. So once you finished, by the time you're 11, 12, maybe 13, you were shipped to a boarding school. And your parents did not have to be rich.
Oh.
Right. You could get a scholarship to go, or if your parents could afford it, then they did. But we went to boarding school, and you only came home 3 times for what do you call here, spring, for Easter break.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, school started in September. So the first break was around Christmas, then there was Easter, and then we had break, what would be considered summer break here.
Summer break.
We called it a long vacation because it
Long
was like
vacation.
2.5
2.5, 3 months,
3 months.
almost 3 months.
You were home, right.
Exactly.
Um,
So from then you would come home.
You would come home, yes.
Okay.
I was just talking to I shouldn't say this. I was talking to one of my classmates from high school from during that time, and I said, I love going to school. She said, I love going to school. I said, tell me why. She says, when you came home, all you did was work, 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 work. I said, yes, that is exactly my story.
Really?
Especially, yes, if you're the oldest girl, your mother had a ready-made house help.
Yes.
You took care of all your siblings.
Yes.
While mama went to work.
Yes, she needed that help.
Yes. You cooked, you did dishes, you did laundry, you ironed, you did everything. It's like, why?
Like you ready to go back to boarding school.
You're ready to go back to boarding school.
Yeah, she worked you to death. You don't even have a vacation. That's how it is.
No rest. There was no rest for what was called vacation. It was not vacation.
The first girl was a mother. The first girl is always the mother.
Yes, exactly. It's like, why are you having so many children? I don't want to take
Stop it.
Yeah, stop it already.
Stop having them kids. I love it. Wow. So that is so interesting. So but it sounds, culture is the same. So
it is.
We have like culture and like movements. Like we go to school in September, same thing. Come out, we have this long summer break. Same. You see how the Europeans, they all do the same stuff.
Exactly. So when they left,
we have it just hard. They do the same stuff everywhere.
Yes. When they left Ghana in 1957, they left their culture behind.
Yep.
The schools are still standing.
Yep.
The sad thing about the schools, and I talk about this with such passion because it is very disappointing to me that after all the education that Ghanaians, and I can say the same for Nigerians, have had, I mean, it's not just in our own countries, but a lot of people go abroad to continue their education.
Yep.
Ghana never thought of changing the curriculum. So when I was in college taking history, there was no African history. It was European history. Taking English literature, there was not much of English literature to speak of. I'm sorry, African literature to speak of.
Yes.
We were learning about T.S. Eliot and, all of that.
Yes, ma'am.
And it disappoints me truly that we never, and now Kwame Nkrumah definitely would have done something about that. Teach African history.
Yep.
Tell stories about Africa.
Yep.
Don't be talking about the European stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I think recently things are changing. But for years and years, this sometimes when Ghana is celebrating anniversary of independence, I'm thinking, what has changed?
Well, absolutely. That's very. But you know what I say this very graciously. I think since Africa built Europe, and Africa built Europe and America, since there's been this fanatical, very fantasy that its culture is good, it's better, and so they did not rush to change like the curriculums and some of the norms that go on that Europeans bring. But I think now we see how destructive that's been to our own culture. And I think that will change. I hope it changes also for, we have African centered schools in this country too.
Yes.
um
Yes.
you cannot you can't stare history. That's the thing about truth, and history can't be stared. It's only what it is. And so for so long we've learned Greek history and all of these histories that really do not fit who we are.
No, we don't need to know them.
We don't need to know what this is.
Mm-mm.
Go on about yourself. We don't need to know about you.
Mm-mm.
And even when I remember when I went to Morgan, we read Things Fall Apart.
The center cannot hold. Chinua Achebe.
We had to read it. It was a book that you had to read before you leave and write on before you get out of class. My first English class. That's the first time in schools that I ever was required to read an African-centered book. That's the first time I heard about a yam and all of this African culture.
Yes.
And but that is what but that took a HBCU. That's what makes it important, even though it still teaches a curriculum that is state sanctioned. They still have tidbits in there.
Yes.
That
Oh, how exciting.
Yeah, it promotes Africanness. So that's the first book we had to read in English 101. Things Fall Apart. An amazing book.
There's a whole series called African Writers. Book. Yes.
Oh yeah?
African Writers series. Yes.
Okay.
So it is, I'll tell you that one of the reasons that Africans who live in Africa are coming around, are becoming self-aware, is because African Americans are agitated.
Salute.
Yes.
They can't. We will always fight. Yes. People say that. I hear people say we're not our ancestors. Our ancestors were fighters.
Yes.
When you don't know your history, you can say that you are your ancestor because they fought, they built, they actually made a structure for you to still be here. Our ancestors were great, and I think that African Americans, we will not sit still until there's some quality in our lives.
Some justice. Some justice.
Absolutely. You can't quiet us. That's one thing.
And it's a good thing for the world.
It is.
It is a good thing for Africa because I am sure that African Americans who go to Africa, at least to Ghana, they realize that the people are docile. They are gentle.
Passive, yes.
Passive.
Yep.
And that has been the history. That has been what brought on our lot, because you don't want to make too much noise. But we have to be self-aware. We have to realize that there is justice and injustice, and we have to advocate for ourselves.
Absolutely.
And one of them is, why are you not teaching African history? Why are we learning European history? Okay, we can learn European history generally.
Tiny bit. But how we need to learn about yourself.
You need to learn about you.
Absolutely. But that empowers you. So that's the problem, is that empowers you. Yes. And so empowerment is not where you should be when you're property. So we got to be clear about the oppression that education brings, and being able to know who you are.
You have
if
to
you
know
knew this stuff,
and accept who you are.
Exactly.
No, I'm talking about Africa being kind of behind African Americans in, advocating for ourselves. But it all really, I think, boils down to the kind of lessons that have been forced upon us. If all you believe is that you are inferior, if all you believe that a white person is closer to God, and a lot of people believe that today. A lot of people believe that today.
Wow.
That, you know, and
Have they
I don't know
read a
if
history book?
I should put all our dirty linen out here.
Put it out. They need to read some books because history will show that God don't roll like that.
People
No.
are still bleaching their skin with chemicals,
Absolutely.
because I know it happens here too.
Yep.
But that is all this darkness in your head.
Yep.
You know, take the fluff out of your mind.
If you knew how melanin is a gift that God
Yes,
gave us, it's a
yes,
gift that no one
yes.
has. And you have the mitigated goal to bleach it. This
Well,
gift,
because of what they have been told
wow.
from, you know,
Yeah, you're
you
right.
gotta be lighter skinned. That's what makes you human. Or I don't know what people think, but
Mm-hmm.
yes, yes, people. You may also have heard that people who are products of mixed marriages,
Yes.
they feel a certain kind of way.
Oh, is that right?
Oh, light
Well, what?
skin, long hair, or
Mm.
any of that is like, yes, they are closer to God. I
Oh,
I I tell the story of one child that I went to elementary school with. She was my friend, and um, I'm not sure who was what, but she was what we call then a mulatto.
yeah. We call them swirl now.
So,
Let me stop.
yes, you better stop.
Biracial. Let me stop. So biracial.
Anyway, this child was, and usually they were, the parents had money. I don't know. I kind of think I know why, because usually white people had money.
Yep.
So when they married a Ghanaian or whatever, the family had money.
Yeah.
So she was very kind. She was a very nice young girl. But girl, was she dumb. Oh my God.
Mama
She
Kiki, did you
was
say she was
really,
what?
really dumb. And I used to say to myself, no, this was my friend. I used to say to myself, you are very fortunate that you are light skinned, and so you'll get far in the world. And it's not going to be from your mind, because there's nothing there.
Oh no, that is not that is, but
I never
listen,
told her that,
but that's what you
but
thought.
it's like, she was lost in a classroom. She was completely lost. She could not find her way to the door. She
Ah,
was completely lost. But she was beautiful. She was kind. Um, and I said, we can't have everything.
yeah,
Some people have the brains and some people have the looks. So hey,
absolutely. I deal with the brains.
yes, it would be good if they came together.
They came together. But I think too is also beauty standards have been forced upon us.
Yes,
Because
yes,
when you look at beauty standards, that beauty is beautiful
hmm,
because of European standard.
yes,
But beauty
yes,
belies in color. That's why everybody wants it.
hmm,
Beauty belies in this coral up here. That's
hmm,
that's what beauty's at. But
yes.
but I understand why people think that's because whatever's closer to the European standard of beauty, but that is not beauty. Everyone's beautiful, but
Everyone is beautiful.
everyone's beautiful, but Africans are beautiful too. Our wide lips, our wide hips. Get out of it.
Well,
nose.
that may be in style today. It wasn't always the case.
That wasn't always the case. Now,
No.
we go full circle. Now, that 8 is sexy.
Yes.
Mama Kiki, that 8 is great. So things have changed.
Things have changed.
Things have changed.
I hope they change for the better, because
but I see a gradual movement. I think it comes though with loving self, and we have to, we go out of the country, but we go to Europe. Why aren't we going to Africa? Why aren't we visiting?
Because of what you have been told.
We got to do better.
Because of what you have been told, and you mentioned what you see in the media.
Yep.
It's always poor people, poor children.
Yes.
Sickly children.
Yes.
And yes, these people trying to raise money to help African children are doing a good thing. However, you are creating some kind of fantasy,
a false narrative.
That's what it is false, because that's not all there is.
You never saw a city. They never emulate like a Lagos or a city in Ghana. You never see these cities that look like New York, that are very developed. You never see communities of houses.
No.
So your mind tends to think that everyone is famished.
Yes.
It's famine everywhere. Everyone's fighting everywhere. There's a lot of chaos. They're barbaric.
And lions in the streets.
Not true. Understand that
you gotta go to a zoo to see a lion.
Absolutely. Civilization came from Africa. Just know that.
Yeah.
that it started there. So I'm glad we had that kind of introduction to, you're from Ghana, you're African, indigenous African that we love. But you're now here in Baltimore, and you have this amazing space called Sankofa Children's Museum of African Cultures. Can you tell us a little bit of how that came about and what's going on there?
Okay, I'm looking at the clock, and it's going to be the short version.
It sure is.
We've been everywhere and back.
We've been all over the world and back. So now we're in the country of Park Heights.
Yes. So anyway, in 1994, that was probably before your time.
No, 1994, I was here.
Oh, you were here?
I were in Baltimore, yes.
In diapers.
Stop it. Stop it. Mom,
I will have you know that in 1994, I started the business. It's a cultural shop called Sankofa African and World Bazaar.
Oh, on Charles Street.
On Charles Street, yes.
That was
you? Charles Street for almost 25 years.
Yes.
So part of that time, I had a regular job, and I was working the shop part-time. Okay. And then when was it? I think it was 2005. I was able to retire, early retirement. Good. And I took that package so I could give, more time to building the business. So that's what happened. Now, in 2015 or so, I decided that I was tired, and actually I was kind of ill, and they couldn't diagnose what it was. I just was tired all the time. So we tried to sell the store, and I'm talking about Baba Jim. And I tried, when he retired from his work, I told him he couldn't stay home and watch me go to work. So
you got to do something, brother.
Yes. If you want to eat,
get up out of here. I love it.
So then he joined me, and it was a beautiful thing, because I was mostly doing clothing and jewelry, and he came and said, "Why is there no African art here?" And this is an aside. So I said, "I don't know anything about African art." He said, "What?" I said, no, I don't know anything about African art. He said, why? I said, well, your people told us.
You're gonna take me out of here.
Hey, your chair.
You're gonna take me out of the picture. Oh my God.
I said, Europeans came and convinced Africans that African art was devil worship.
Yeah.
And you stay away from it. You know what the joke is, that when they said close your eyes and let's pray, when you open your eyes, all your stuff is gone. That's how they ended up in European
That's
museums.
how they ended up in Europe. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Because they told the people this was evil. You will not go to heaven because you're worshiping the devil.
Yeah.
You know. So I said that is the reason I don't know anything about art, because I grew up in a Christian home and I never saw these things when I was growing up. All the time I was in Ghana. I actually tell the story of when I was maybe 10 or 11, my mother would write a list for me to go to the market. The market was not that far from where we lived. And you had to pass through a community. And in the middle of that community was a shrine. I was so afraid
of that shrine.
Of this shrine that I would walk about a mile outside of that little community to get to the market, because I was.
You didn't want to walk past the shrine.
No, no, you might die. You know, that's how strong the belief was.
Yes, how someone can brainwash you against your own culture.
Yes. So I don't think I ever told my mother about that, but she always wondered why it took me so long.
Why it took you so long to take that walk? Oh my goodness, and what a story.
So when Jim asked about the art, I said, so I don't know anything about it. I cannot tell my customers about it because I don't know. So he said, well, if I learn about it, can we carry it? I said, sure. If you learn about it, we can carry it. And, you can tell me anything because I don't know. And because he started with a clean slate and didn't have this murkiness in his mind, he studied it. Studied it, and to the point where there are many people in Baltimore, if they want to know anything about a piece of African art they call him. They send him pictures and he tells them about it. Wow. So anyway, that was an aside. That was a long
I can attest to that because when I got to the museum, he took me on a tour of the mask, and he told me almost about each one, what tribe they're from. I mean, and it so comes right off his brain. And I mean, there's hundreds of masks in this room. One room full of masks.
Yes.
And he knows about each one, so I can attest to that. That's amazing.
Yes. He's very passionate about African art. It just blows his mind how these people were able to create these things with their hands, even medals, bronze, pieces, and it's very detailed. Anyway, every now and then I can say something about a piece of art, but
he's taught you, eh?
Yes. If you hear it often enough, some of it will stick. Anyway, so he was working with me when I said, perhaps we have to give this up, and I want to retire. We tried to sell this shop. We did not, we could not find people who could raise the money. We even tried to give the shop away.
Really?
Through a contest. And we did not have enough people entering there was a fee to enter. There was a $200 fee to register and be to be considered.
$200
We did not have enough
to get a whole shop.
to get a whole shop with all that inventory.
I'm gonna send you my $200 tomorrow. Cash app. Cash app.
You're way behind. Anyhow, a young friend of mine said to me, I think it was 2015, said, Mama KiKi, how about we do something for Black History Month? I said, what do you have in mind? She said, perhaps we can work with some schools to get some children to come here. And they can learn about a little bit about African history and cultures. So I said, I'll do you one better. How about we rent some space across the street? I forget the name of. Oh goodness.
Not Safeway. Weren't you close to Safeway?
Yeah, Safeway is across the street, but this was a studio that people rented
right on the corner. Those
living
corner
well.
buildings.
The living well.
You're right in the corner.
Yeah. The living well. So we rented that space for a week, and we set up, all different stations where children could learn about a little bit about African history, and it was like a 2-hour tour.
Wow.
One of the stations was a map of Africa. It was a geography lesson, a map of Africa, because I had found, talking to many people during my work at the shop, that a lot of adults don't know much about Africa at all, including the idea that Africa is a country. So
they don't know it's a continent.
That was one of the first lessons I wanted these children to learn. Here is a map of Africa. There's 50-something countries.
Yeah.
Now, if I don't know, you probably haven't done a real tour, because we have a huge map of Africa, a puzzle.
I saw it.
It's beautiful. That we have our guests complete. And the idea being that by the time you have put in 54 countries in this outline, you will remember one. You'll remember the name of one country. So, when your brain thinks or wants to tell you that Africa is a country, you say, oh, no.
No.
There are 54 of those
in
this continent.
It's the second largest continent in the world.
Yes. So anyway, during this event that we were having that week, one of the parents said, you can't just do this for Black History Month. You have to do this every day of the year. I said, really? I got a job.
Really?
I got a job. I can't do this every day of the year. But we went home and I discussed it with Jim, and I said, we have to find a way to teach children about their history, because I really don't want this thing to continue where adults will say, oh, I didn't know that. They never taught me this in school. And there's a lot of that. They never taught me this in school. I said, okay, now adults know where to go. They can Google and get information, or they can go to the library. But we are going to start the children early. Teach them about who we are.
Yeah.
So that they don't grow up saying, I didn't know that.
Absolutely.
They never taught us in school. So that was the genesis of the museum. And we had to move from Charles Street, because we found this beautiful building in Park Heights where we are now. And so the shop moved, and we opened the museum. I don't know if I ever told you that the museum opened on February 1st, 2020. And what happened?
March 2020, I was kicked out for COVID out of a building I was in. March 2020, the world shut down. Yep.
So we opened in February and we closed down in March.
Oh my Lord.
for almost 2 years. It was
Really?
intermittent. We would come and open for a couple of weeks and see if anybody showed up. The store was doing a little better, but not the museum. Not the museum.
Mm-hmm.
So, even though COVID is supposed to have, well, it hasn't left because, it's reared its ugly head again.
Let's hear.
But it's we're still challenged. We are still struggling
Yes.
um, because we haven't been able to attract school children. That was our
Oh.
basic business plan. School
Mm.
children, get school children here um, in school buses for field trips, and give us 2 hours with the children, and they'll go home having learned some things about who we are. And for children who are not African American, it doesn't matter
They
because
need to know too.
they need to know
You
too.
learn
Thank you.
European history.
That
A child needs to learn history wherever it comes.
everybody needs to learn every culture,
Absolutely.
and that's how you may not embrace the culture, but you understand why people do the things that they do, however they do it. You
Yes.
need to know, because ignorance is what's causing all the problems in the world.
That's it.
Yeah.
It is pure ignorance. So
Hmm.
there's no way that this can be intersect into schools where they come once a year, because there's a lot of schools around you, like
There
Pimlico.
are a lot of schools around us. We're trying to apply for a grant now to see if, well, first of all, there's a fee. And unfortunately for us, we are too young to attract the kind of money, kind of funding that will allow us to be able to say, hey, come on in, it's free.
It's
Like the
free.
BMA or the
Yeah,
Walters, you
absolutely. I
know,
get it. I get it. Yeah.
so
You
we
need them to
haven't been able
foster
to
your
do
building a
that.
little. Yeah.
We are trying to, we're still writing grants, but nobody knows us yet.
Mm-hmm.
The funders don't know us enough yet to trust us with their money.
And that makes sense, but we're gonna find a way. Got to find a way
We
because the
gotta
children
find a
need it.
way.
The children
So
need it.
the
Yeah, they
children
need it.
need it. If
Hmm.
somebody could, give us $50,000 and say, for the schools in the Park Heights area, let's start over there.
Yep.
Free admission, maybe even transportation, because we've heard from some schools that that's part of the problem. They don't have, funding for transportation.
Transportation, and they're not
Yes.
gonna pay for a bus
Right.
to just for that, for a field
Mhm.
trip. I don't
Mhm.
think the kids do field trips like they used to neither. Field trips used to be something that you did every year.
Every
But
year.
I don't think they get as many field trips as I got as a child.
Well, right now, I think mostly they are trying to catch up from, closures during the pandemic.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
field trips are not on their radar right now,
I know they're
especially if
trying to
they
get a
have to
computer.
pay. Yes.
You're right. They're trying to get a daggone computer. You're right. Yeah. So it's a process, but I want to
Mhm.
say that the place is beautiful.
Thank you.
You definitely can come to the store. The store is full. She has everything African. Every mask that you could ever think of is there. And clothing, jewelry, knickknacks. The store is bustling. So you
Yes.
can still actually seed into this greatness. You can go to the
Yes.
store, 40 for 30, Pimlico Road, and you
40,
open them
40, 43:30.
43, sorry, 43:30. And you guys are opening what days?
Wednesdays through Saturdays from 11 to 6 p.m. 11
Wednesday.
a.m. to 6 p.m.
Excellent. So you
Yes.
guys can go there. But also, Mama Kiki, you do have space for
For
events.
rent, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. We have a beautiful room that we call the Great Hall, surrounded by exotic African art. And we have another room that's smaller, But call and or go to our website, which is sankofakids.org.
I'm putting that in
And
the chat.
there's a lot of information that you can find. And feel free to call 443-708-7046. All of this is on the website anyway. And thank you,
443.
Queen, for giving us this opportunity to talk about, well, trying to save the world.
My goal is to, platform your business, of course.
Yes.
But the link of African American, we have to reclaim that.
Yes.
And there's a fissure there, and it's intentional. Understand that the way that we're acting is intentional. We're expected not to speak. We're expected to say, "Oh, them Africans don't like us. Oh, them Yankees, they don't."
Oh, yes, I have heard that.
That's all the time. I hear it all the time. Oh, Africans don't like us. Oh, them Yankees, they don't want them African Americans, they don't want to work. No, I work with some people at my job, Ghana and Cameroon. They call us Black Americans. The Black Americans, the Black Americans, they don't want to work. The Black Americans are lazy. And so these are all thoughts that come. Who wins when we think this way?
Yes.
Who does it serve? I tell everyone, like, if you thinking very negative about something, where did it come from, and who does it serve?
Yes.
If it's not serving you, why
are you repeating it?
Thank you. Thank you. So this is very important for us to have this international conversation, because America is so arrogant that we don't even think of ourselves as international citizens. We are citizens of the world that live in America. And so America is so arrogant, it's so great and so much forward than everywhere in the world that we don't think about nothing else. You know what I'm saying?
That is true.
There is a forward, but the reason why it's forward is because of your ancestors. Let's be clear that it was not forward before Africans then come and tore the soil.
That is true.
So in that case, we have to know where the greatness came from. And it came from a Kebulon, modern day Africa.
Yes.
And so so that's why this is so important. It's a history lesson. It's also put some African art in your house. Start the conversation. Wear some African regalia.
Yes.
Start the conversation and love where we're from. We might not know it, but we know we're from Africa.
That's that. It's a lesson that takes a while for people to accept.
Yes.
Because, we already talked about that. That, if all you know about a people is terrible stuff, and really, that's what I'm trying to remove from these young children. If all you hear about is how bad you are or how bad things are, why are you going to be proud of who you are? You're not. Who wants to be inferior or be made fun of and all of that?
Absolutely. And that's very important to children. They don't have much. They don't have mortgages. They don't own anything. All they have is their little friends and where they're from, their little corner. They don't have much. So they don't want to feel as if they're not enough. And so we're teaching this. And so we have to open up ourselves. So I say, parents, visit.
Yes.
Visit the Sankofa Children's Museum.
Bring your children.
Bring your children. Ask your school, why aren't they going there for a field trip?
Yes.
Tell your resource, because every school has a resource coordinator. Go to your resource coordinator and demand that your children are exposed to African art and African culture, because that's what they are. So
and buy books.
And buy books.
Surround them with books.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I know about things fall apart. It changed my world. I tell you that. I found out something I didn't know anything about. I never was
about Okonko. Yes, and pounded yam.
Pounded yam. That's what I learned about it.
Yes, yes,
So Mama
really
KiKi, I
am.
want you to inspire us. Leave Mama KiKi's jewel. Leave a jewel with us. Inspire the community.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I did enjoy this conversation. I kept forgetting that other people are listening.
Yeah,
I thought I was just talking to you.
that's what it's supposed to be.
Thank you.
You're welcome, but you got to leave your jewel. So a jewel is you leave something that inspires the community that comes from you. So I want you to leave Mama KiKi's jewel with us.
The jewel I'm going to leave with you is this. As Marcus Garvey, the Honorable Marcus Garvey said, "A- people with no knowledge of their history or their culture is like a tree without roots. What happens to a tree without roots? It dies. We don't want to die. We don't want our history to die. We don't want other people telling our history either. We should be able to tell our own story.
Yep.
And the truth.
The truth. Ashe.
Yes.
Ashe. Love it. Love it. So listen, guys, this has been bbR BLaKBiZ international version. we took it internationally. Mama KiKi, I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you for coming through. I will see you soon.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Listen, Black Boxes, I need you to like, share, subscribe. Please share this with your community. This was a very authentic conversation between the sisters.
Yes.
So we really appreciate you. Everyone have a good night. Let's get them deuces, Mama KiKi. Get some deuces. Yeah, good night. Peace.
Peace. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. I'll call you. Why don't the